Welcome to our episode of This Old Ship. I'm your host, Ron Frankowski. Today we'll be getting paint and primer all over in our hair and in our nose.
My name is Bill Saris, and this is my second tour. I was having lunch with Brandon, who I used to work with, and told him I come up to Albany frequently because I have relatives here. And he asked if I'd ever seen the ship in this Hudson River there, and I said, all the time. And he says, you want to go to work on it? And I said, what do you mean? And he told me about the volunteer group and what we do, and I said, okay, and the rest is history. Probably goes back to my father was in the Navy in World War II, and mentally he never left the Navy. And I heard all about Navy stories for my whole life. And I guess one of the big things that came was the shipmate thing. And then my daughter went to school at RAT in Rochester and got the internship on the Queen Mary for 6 months and traveled the world on the cruise ship. Not exactly the same type, but the shipmate thing definitely rang true. So I said, hey, what the hell? I didn't serve in the military. I've always liked Navy things. What the hell? And I'm an engineer, and I've been in maintenance for my whole life, maintenance and construction. So I said, this would be neat. And it's been. Probably the strange group of people from all walks of life come, and I was really surprised how far people come for this, and that they actually take vacation week to come here. Last year we had 2 guys from Seattle, and they just flew in for the week, took time off, and I was impressed with that. My father-in-law was in the Navy. My 2 uncles were in the Navy. My cousin that I come see in Albany, who passed away 5 years ago, was in the Navy. I think my father was one of the earliest, was probably right after Pearl Harbor. He just signed up like so many others. And then as they were younger and younger, they were served later and later. The latest being, I think, the Korean War. I don't think anybody that I know of served during Vietnam. And my father was in the Pacific, and I've been doing a lot of work in the Pacific. And the Pacific Ocean is really, really big. I know I've flown over it many times, and that was at 500 miles an hour, not 12 knots. So that was just part of the interesting attraction. I guess the upper deck where the weapons are. That's probably an interesting part, because I've heard things from my father about the 40 millimeters and the 20 millimeters, and he was on a sub chaser, so the depth charges and all the stuff in the back brought memories back from his sea stories. In my way, it's a tiny bit of my way of serving. And I like the camaraderie that comes from like all the vets that come back here, all the old destroyer guys that come back here, and then everybody else has got some minor or major connection to that Navy linkage. Sharing the story is one thing, because I had no idea that this type of thing happens. I've been to a lot of museum ships, never gave a thought of who's taking care of it, who's paying for it, who's manning it. I've heard stories of some town or something wanting to get a ship brought to their town to be a museum ship, and all the difficulty they have doing that. And to have a relatively small ship here, it's not a major cost boom like the Intrepid in New York, or the Massachusetts in Falls River, or something like that, where the mega ships have a major draw because everybody knows them. These things, what's a destroyer escort, and why would anybody want to go on a little ship like that? That kind of thing.